My name is TREY. Over the last 4 years, I've built my clothing brand 6Shooter from being completely unknown to doing over 6 figures a year. From starting in my basement and only selling to my friends, to now being recognized worldwide. This is my journey. It all started in September of 2019. I was 16 years old and a sophomore in high school. At the time, I had made a new best friend named Cam. Me and Cam would hang out every day after school and skateboard until the sun went down. We also worked the same job of being dishwashers at a local restaurant. Being broke high school students with terrible jobs, we both knew we needed another way to make some money. This is where the initial idea of running a clothing brand came from. I had already had a liking for fashion and also had an older cousin who owned a brand, so this seemed like the perfect idea. After hours of brainstorming, we had landed on our brand's name, Vessel. Vessel is the starting point of all the success in my life and really something I'll never forget. Over the next few weeks, we spent all of our time and energy on starting this clothing brand. We had came up with our first logos, designed our first hoodies, and even planned future drops. I had taken the lead of production and created 12 hoodies with my aunt's heat press and vinyl cutter. The official Vessel Studios beep boop. Sheesh. We did a photo shoot for the hoodies and then released them at school, selling out the very first day. From that point on, I knew this is exactly what I wanted to do with my life. This is also when I started to make one-of-ones in my bedroom and learning that I really love to sew. Being so young and uneducated, the brand pretty much died right away because we had no idea what we were doing. 2020 comes around and I had completely lost my passion for making clothes and had no plans on starting up a brand again. With COVID starting this year, being stuck indoors every day led me to creating a gaming YouTube channel. I posted Valorant content and streamed every single day. From March until about October, this is pretty much all I did and thought this would be my path to success. After gaining no traction over the months, I ended up giving up on my dreams of being a content creator. At this point in my life, I felt lost and I had no idea what I was going to do in the future. Still being stuck indoors, I had refound my sewing machine in the closet. I really liked these skeleton print jeans at the time that were super trendy, and I decided to make my own pair. This ended up completely re-sparking my love for sewing and fashion. Over the next few weeks, all I did was sew random projects and I realized I was stupid for giving up on my dreams of running a clothing brand. I decided I was going to start a new brand, but completely on my own this time. December 23rd, 2020. After a week of trying to come up with a new brand name, I had finally landed on one. This is what you know today as 6Shooter. Being heavily influenced by Juice WRLD at the time, I really loved his slogan, 999. This meant to take all negative situations and flip them into a positive one. My brand took on a very similar meaning. 6 came from the number 666 and shooter represents killing it. I loved this meaning, and the name 6Shooter sounded so cool to me, I knew this is what I would go with. Not knowing how to design very well at the time, I reached out to my cousin Cody to make me a logo. He's the relative I had mentioned already owning a brand, so I knew he'd be able to get it done. A couple days later, I received the logo and it was so good I couldn't wait to release it to the world. Before dropping my first collection, I made a one-of-one with the logo and this would become my first 6Shooter piece to ever exist. I made the decision early on that I was going to make all of my clothes myself. I invested in a heat press and vinyl cutter and this is how I first began dropping clothes. I then set these up in my bedroom, now having my first studio in my house. On January 24th, 2021, I released my first official collection and this is where I marked the actual start of 6Shooter. Starting off strong, I sold out of 24 hoodies and kept reinvesting back into the brand. Having many more ideas with this new name, I would then release 6 collections over the next few months. I designed and made everything myself in my room, dropping mainly logo tees and graphic tees. In July, I ended up graduating high school and was actually voted most likely to succeed. I was even wearing 6Shooter in the photo for it. I went to a vocational school, which means half of the time I studied academics and the other half I would learn a trade. Mine being electrical. Over the next few months, I would continue to work my dishwashing job, but now being pressured by my parents to become an electrician. Every few weeks, they'd mention to me going into the trade, but after spending 4 years studying it, I knew that's not what I wanted to do with my life. With 6Shooter still not being successful, it was hard to convince my parents that I should focus on my brand instead of getting a job. Eventually, they would accept my decision, but deep down, they were still worried about how my future would play out. The longevity and 6Shooter era. Above the restaurant I worked at, conveniently my cousin Cody had a studio where he would run his clothing brand out of. Wanting to learn more about running a brand, I started going upstairs after work to see how everything was done. At this time, COVID had gotten so bad that the restaurant was closed down and I was fired from my job. Now having nothing but time, I started going to Cody's studio every single day. I would help him ship orders and model some photo shoots. At the same time, he would let me use his machines to make my clothes and also help me design future collections. This partnership was super beneficial for both of us, and we decided more space was needed if we were going to work together. We found a new studio and moved in shortly after, now splitting rent and both having a better dedicated work area. For the next 2 years, we spent every hour of every day grinding on our brands. We'd get to the studio early in the morning and not leave until 3 to 4 a.m. every single night. This wasn't just our place of work, but a room for all of our friends to come and hang out with us. It wasn't unusual to have 3 to 4 friends spending the night with us every day. This was just a place everyone would want to hang out at. We would play video games, listen to music, and just spend time together. Looking back now, this was definitely my favorite part of my come up. Being surrounded by your friends as you're working on your dreams and making money online, it's just a time that can't be replicated. On December 10th, 2021, me and Cody split our studio space in half, one side being our work area and the other side being a store. Alright, almost 3:30, got that up there, looks insane. We got Cody over here, me and him absolutely grinding right now. With strong local support, we'd be pretty successful with this decision. After a few months, we eventually moved our store into a new space located in the retail area of my studio's building. Having the store made having a brand feel so much more real. With a new flow of income, I finally started to feel like my brand was seeing some success. Still not doing more than $4,000 a month total, I did feel like I was on the right track. This feeling of success wouldn't last too long as running the store became increasingly difficult. Having someone available to open every day, keeping the shelf stock, and affording the overhead of rent, everything started to go wrong and we had to make the hard decision to shut the store down. It was so much fun while it lasted, and getting to sell clothes in real life was so much more rewarding than online, but needing to face reality, this was the right decision to make. The TikTok era. Around the time we closed the store down, I decided 6Shooter needed some more promotion and started to post every single day on TikTok. August 4th, 2022, I posted my first video. Little did I know, I just began the process of what would truly blow my brand up to what it is today. Being unsatisfied with the growth I had over the years, I decided that I would go all in on making TikTok content. I posted 1 to 3 times a day for 7 months straight. Every single day, I dedicated all my time to recording new content and pushing as many videos out as I could. The entire time, I would never get any videos over 1,000 views. To be honest, I really don't know why I didn't give up. Seeing zero success for that long, the average person would probably just give up. There was just a fire in me that wanted it so bad, I just forced myself every day to keep on posting, knowing eventually a video would take off. On February 23rd, 2023, it finally happened. My first viral video. 355,000 views and 36,000 likes. This was one of the first times I made a video of me sewing and it blew up. The video was of a new hoodie I was releasing for a collection, and a week later, I opened my site up and released it with a few other items. Over a couple of days, I managed to sell 100 hoodies and do over $8,000 in sales. I honestly couldn't believe it. After over 2 years of working on my brand every single day, I had finally seen the slightest bit of success. This drop was truly the turning point for my brand and showed me that it was possible. My new studio. After selling over 100 hoodies in this collection, I still needed to make all these orders. My current studio was a decent size, but with this many orders, I needed more space to work. At the same time, my friend Ian had a studio in the same building as us, but his wasn't being used much and he allowed me to work in there. For 2 weeks, I would sew every single day, making all of my orders and continuing to make content, but now in this new studio. Not only did I have the space to focus on my videos with no distractions, but my views were much higher, averaging 5 to 10,000 views a video compared to my 900 views per video only a few weeks prior. Over this short period of time working alone in the studio every day, I started to realize something very important. My work quality, video quality, and ability to remain on task, it was all improving so much because I was secluded to myself with no distractions. Eventually, Ian decided to move out of the studio, and I made a huge decision. After 2 years of working along Cody, I was going to get my own studio and start working entirely myself. This was very scary at the time, but I knew this was the next step in my journey to success. On May 1st, 2023, I moved into my new studio. I was so excited to continue working on my brand, now with a workspace 100% dedicated to where I couldn't be distracted and could completely lock in. The first item I dropped in my studio was the Umbra denim. This was my first ever cut and sew piece, and after the release, nothing was ever the same. With traction picking up on TikTok, averaging 10 to 30,000 views a video, and my Instagram increasingly growing, I knew something big was about to happen. The drop day was something I'll never forget. I would explain in words, but this video will explain exactly how I was feeling in the moment.
Oh my god. I don't even know what to say right now. Worked so hard to fucking get to this.
I made it is all I could think, over and over in my head. I called my parents crying, showing them my sales, making over $6,000 in the first hour. I had been working so hard to prove to them that I wasn't wasting my time and that I could make a living from this if I worked hard enough. Thousands of hours of work over multiple years, I'd finally reached the success I was trying so hard to achieve. That drop ended up doing $12,000 in sales, and it was so surreal to me at the time, but this was only the beginning of what was to come. My biggest driving factor in my success is I never became comfortable. Each time I hit a certain goal, I'd move the mental goal line even further, telling myself the job is not finished and I had more work to get done. I became smarter and smarter with my marketing. Knowing sewing videos were working really good, I started to mainly focus on that type of content. And because of this, I started to average between 300,000 and 2 million views per video. I was on fire. Everything started moving so fast, and it seemed like every single piece of content I pushed out would go viral. The next collection I released was timed so perfectly. It was November 2023, right before Black Friday and Christmas. I had 200 units pre-made, and I had millions of people seeing my content daily. This collection ended up doing $25,000 in sales, more than doubling my previous release. To this day, it's still one of my biggest drops I've ever had. This drop secured the idea that I wasn't just lucky, but that my brand had finally made it. This was the last release of 2023, making it my biggest and most successful year in business. With 2024 around the corner, I started to prepare for what would be the most important year of my life. Modern day 6-shooter. With 3 years of non-stop grinding on my brand, I promised myself this would be the year I hit 6 figures. With learning so much over the years, failing countless times, but never losing hope, I knew this would be the year to change my life forever. I had realized how much I loved making pants, so the entire year became dedicated to dropping cut and sew jeans. I started to slowly change 6-shooter from a brand that released anything to mainly focusing on denim. Seeing a huge gap in the market and the rising trend in baggy jeans, I went all in. While continuing to use my sewing videos as leverage to reach millions of eyes, I'd begin spending tens of thousands of dollars buying pre-made cut and sew denim. Each month, I focused on dropping one pair of jeans with a t-shirt or hoodie. This style of drop worked best for me, and people started to understand and love the direction I was taking the brand. Now putting out extremely intricate and detailed jeans, the hype for 6-shooter didn't stop and only grew more and more. I would order 100 pairs of pants, and within a couple of days they would sell out every single time. This was no longer a passion project, but now a fully functioning business bringing in a lot of money. 2024 quickly passed 2023 as my most successful year in business. About 5 months in, I had already done more sales than the previous year and was 100% going to hit my goal of 6 figures. 2024 has changed my life forever. I did my first fashion show in May. I started this YouTube channel documenting 6-shooter with now over 15,000 subscribers. 6-shooter's Instagram page hit 26,000 followers, and the TikTok page is at a crazy 90,000 followers. Everything my 16-year-old self could have ever wished for has finally come true. I'm 21 years old now, and I truly can't believe how far I've come. These last 5 years has taught me so much, but the main thing I learned is to never give up. I failed for so long, but my love for fashion and goal of becoming a successful brand owner outweighed any challenges I faced. If I never found my sewing machine again back in 2020, I have no idea where I'd be today. Maybe I'd be an electrician, or maybe somehow I would have still found my way back to fashion. Either way, I thank my younger self for being so brave to chase his dreams. The fire in my heart and passion is what got me to where I am today. I hope my story can inspire you to chase after your own dreams. Nothing is impossible if you're willing to put the work in for it. It may take many years to get where you want to be, but if you never quit, you can never lose. Believe in yourself and everything will work out as it should. Thank you.
Awake, 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 awake.